Nigeria sits on the list of countries with the most hopeful and enduring people in the world. According to the World Happiness Report 2025, we rank 105th in life satisfaction and an impressive 7th globally for helping strangers. This is proof of the steadfastness, optimism, and happiness as a disposition that defines us as a people. In spite of a rising costs of living, economic hardship, insecurity, and uncertainty, Nigerians continue to find joy in the simple things and find ways to forge ahead. This is the patriot's dilemma, loving a nation whose systems often proves to be incapable of doing the same in action, yet never giving up on the promise of its potential of becoming a nation that is built to ensure the well-being of every citizen. Welcome to another episode of the Leading Woman Show Season 4, themed The Nigeria We Want, brought to you by our partners, the National Endowment for Democracy and Luminate. I'm your host, Abosede Jojogan. In this episode, The Patriot's Dilemma, Why Loving Nigeria Hurts, we explore one of the most emotional parts of our national story, how Nigerians continue to love, hope, and build even when the system feels broken. Joining me in this conversation, I have a diverse group of guests, and together we will discuss why our hope endures, how patriotism can become a tool for progress, and what it means to believe in Nigeria even when it's hard. Please welcome Chude Jidonwo, a media entrepreneur, filmmaker, and TV host. He's the co-founder of Red Africa, Joy Inc., the executive producer and host of With Chude, and the co-founder of the Future Project. Through Red Africa, his team has led communication campaigns for African governments. He is board chair of the Initiative for Equal Rights. Through storytelling and social impact, Chude has built platforms that inspire hope, shape narratives, and champion emotional well-being across Africa. Our next guest is Eroms Adene, an activist, writer, and one of the voices who emerged from Nigeria's youth-led civic movements. His work continues to spotlight social justice, governance, accountability, and the power of young people to drive national change. Finally, we have Oyeyemi Emmanuel, a leadership coach, pastor, and founder of Think Talk Africa. With her deep insight into faith, governance, and personal development, she empowers individuals to live purposefully and lead ethically. I'm sure you cannot wait to dive into this conversation. So let's dive in. Welcome to today's episode of the show, where we're discussing a patriot's dilemma, why loving Nigeria hurts. And I'm really excited to have Chude, Oyeyemi, and Eroms to have this conversation. Welcome, people. Really good to have you here.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
We have a tough task ahead of us, but I'm confident that you're the right group of guests to have this conversation.
We both are confident that he's the right.
Yes.
We'll find out, I guess.
I guess so.
But Chude, I want to start with you. What does patriotism mean to you as a Nigerian?
I think that patriotism is caring, truly, genuinely caring about your country and your fellow country people irrespective of the circumstance. Yeah? So that even if the country doesn't deserve it, even if your fellow country people disappoint you, you just have a sense that you are still responsible to care for the country.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Your questions were said. But I mean, when I think of patriotism, I think of ownership, right? To own your country and everything that comes with it. To recognize your country for what it is and what it can be. Not just what it is, because then you're living in the only experience, but to carry the possibilities of your country in your heart and find your allocation for work. I think to look for your own space where you can get your hands dirty to make sure that that country that you own is producing what is possible. So that's how I see patriotism. But one last thing, to also accept your country for everything that it is.
Wow.
Whether it is pain, whether it is disorder, whether it is chaos. So recognize your country for what it is, accept it, and then work on it.
Interesting. Aram, is that what patriotism means to you?
I think they both are very correct. And whatever I say will just be a reflection of what it is that they have said so far. Patriotism is, for me, to love, to give to, and to care for the country, the people. Where you are putting the country and the people first, not because of what they have to give to you, but understanding that it is sacrifice. I think that's what I would define
That word
patriotism
has come
as.
into the So, Chide, why do you think that for a lot of us as Nigerians, loving Nigeria feels really painful?
I think it's simple because most people don't feel like Nigeria loves them. And it's, you know, I always joke that people say John F. Kennedy ask what your country will do, not what your country will do for you, what you can do for your country, in a country that was already doing a lot for its people. You know, it's like a loving relationship. It's easy for a child. You know, there's something the Christian Bible says, we loved him because he loved us first. And so it's like parents. The reason why many children are fundamentally selfish. The reason why many children love their parents is because their parents first love the children. And so children are built and grow up in an environment of love. And so when you receive love, it's easy to give love. Nigerians have not received love from their country. It's just not, it hasn't happened, you know. And so the love that Nigerians feel for Nigeria has to be self-generated. It's not organic most of the time. It's synthetic.
Self-generating love.
Yes. So it's not a love in response to love. It's a love that you discover you have to give because somebody preached to you, spoke to you, you read it in a book, something. And I think that we're often not realistic about that. We pretend, you know, we pretend a lot about the kind of affection people have towards their country. And so we cannot even help them hone the love. You know, so we're not honest about it. We're not honest about why young people why don't young people want to go to certain states for their NYSC? It's because they know that if they are killed in those states, the country might not even acknowledge. And so that is reality. And so when we ask people to love in that kind of circumstance, we are asking them to carry on a burden. Yeah? And we have to respect their reluctance to carry that burden. And we have to design the country in acknowledgement of that reluctance. We have to understand the origins and validity of that reluctance and be grateful when they love the country in spite of.
It's deep and it's heavy. Arams, why does it feel so painful? And have you been hurt before trying to love this country? I don't know why we're laughing, but you know.
You know where we are laughing. The past couple of days I've been ill. I've had to still perform in my capacity as a nation builder. We currently have a kid who is in the hospital. I still had to follow up and all of that from my sick bed. And I was just thinking about this on my way here. This year we have raised funds for kids. Our focus this year has been on kids, amongst other projects, to pay for medical bills. We raised tens of millions of naira. We took care of 11 children. As I'm speaking with you, only 6 are alive. We lost 5. And we did try our best. In fact, the first child we lost was before my birthday. My birthday is January 15th. So I lost that first child. I couldn't even celebrate my birthday. We did our best. Some kids, we transferred them to better hospitals. So we took a child to one of the most expensive hospitals in Nigeria. Thankfully, the child is alive. But I just realized that you can do so much to help the citizen of this country and this country, but we are lacking in so many areas that your efforts can seem like nothing. So this case, for example, the parents probably didn't take them to the hospital early. They kept delaying, oh, there's no money. And by the time the kids had to be rushed to the hospital, the cases were already so severe. Now, there is no money when things are simple. Imagine how it would be when things are hard. So more often than not, when we're stepping in, it was already too late. And we have 6 alive. I'm not even talking malaria, and I'm talking severe medical cases. I don't know if I can mention this on air, but I mean, a couple have already gone viral. So one of them was born without an anus. We had to do 3 surgeries for her. Another child was, I think he was 6 months old. His small intestine was visible through his private area, and we had to do a surgery for that one as well. And you realize that in a country where things work, these type of surgeries should be free. This is the responsibility of the government. So how much are we even allocating to healthcare? When we compare it to how much is being allocated to the National Assembly for a certain sector of people to eat and have fun. So even let me even still just talk on this illness. 2023 elections, 2022, I'm not talking about 2022, towards 2023 elections, I had about 500 volunteers who volunteered with my organization to sensitize people and register people for their PVC, right? I had a volunteer who was very active in Lagos State. She got a call one day when she was registering people for their PVC at one of the INEC offices, that her father, who she had left at home that morning, that was very sick for some days, had died. So she had to leave what she was doing, go attend to the father, and as burial plan started, they mourned. 2 days after, she was calling me that, boss, I want to resume voter registration. I'm like, You just lost your dad 2 days ago. Take enough time out too. But she told me something that really stuck with me. She said, this period is a period where I can give back to Nigeria to ensure that we select, first of all, to ensure young people, a lot of young people have their voters card and can vote in the right leadership that will provide health care for people who are in a situation like my dad, and we don't have to lose them. So she was ready to say, this voter registration period, let me use it to work and register people. After, I can mourn my dad, when I know more Nigerians have a better opportunity. I had another one who told me after we were done registering, he was one of our most active volunteers in the North Central. He had a lung issue and was going out every day under the sun, under the rain. I'm just saying all of this to say, I even survived a car explosion when we were doing the voter registration in North Central. We did all of this to ensure that our vote will count. Or did our vote count? Even if you're not looking at it from one lens, it's now a question of all the sacrifices we made. Okay, we did this because we wanted a better healthcare sector. We did this because we wanted a better state of the economy. Are things getting better? So after doing all of these sacrifices, and we are still doing it up until this year, up until this moment, it can hurt. It can dampen the spirits. I think I posted something on my Instagram. Yeah, we're still doing it because we had a child that was at the hospital yesterday. One of the children that we supported her surgery, she still had some post-surgery care to do. So we had to take her to another hospital. it can dampen the spirits. It can hurt because as much as you love someone, when you keep giving to the person and you keep pouring into the person, and the person
And
doesn't seem to reciprocate the feelings,
Yeah.
it can hurt, it can damage you, and you just keep. It's just like you just fill into a cup that never gets full.
Yeah.
So yes, loving Nigeria, giving to Nigeria, caring for Nigeria can hurt.
Hurts. Wow. Okay. So, Ian, before we go on a break, I would love to hear your perspective.
So I'm doing some learning on design, and then I'm asking questions around how we as humans are designed, right? Because worldwide, you see a lot of chaos, and we really need to start asking many questions.
Absolutely.
So the thoughts around how society is formed suggest that citizens enter into a contract with government and leadership.
Yes.
If you go anywhere and you type in social contract, you will see what it is. And I think the main issue for many Nigerians is they think they've struck a bad deal, right? So you go around and you hear, the deal in this country is better. The deal is, why am I investing in this place? Let me go and, And I remember a debate that I had to do a couple of years ago. And I had to craft a message preaching the gospel that I do not believe in on why you should leave Nigeria. And one of the things that I had to say was, citizens think they are in an abusive relationship with their country. Citizens think that their country is an abattoir as against something that preserves them, right? When you're in a country, we've used the word care loosely, but really that's the expectation of a citizen. And I really like how Trudeau started the thought when he talked about, I love you because you first loved me. We are born into countries, right? We're born into
didn't choose
systems.
it.
You don't have agency before you were born.
True.
Right? But one of the things that you're hoping that your country will give you is agency, your own voice, your own personal status. And so when Nigerians deal with the world, they feel like they've been given a bad deal, right? I don't have agency. My passport is not agency. My lived experience in other countries is not agency. And even when I try to escape, I'm not worthy of acceptance. People don't count me as good product.
Yes.
So even simple asylum, I need to lie to be worthy of that. Whereas people, just by identifying as, get all of these benefits.
Yes.
And so we seek a different identity continually, right? And I think that's the most painful thing, right, for most citizens. It's really not the specific issue. It's not the tax. It's the fact that
we want
you want a better deal. And when you think of contracts from what we learn contracts mean, there's offer, there's acceptance, and there's consideration, right? And there's a meeting of the minds between the two parties,
who are in agreement.
right, in agreement. When you look at the offer appears not to be good, and you're being asked to accept it nonetheless.
Regardless.
Then when you think of consideration, you're paying too much for the value that is supposed to be on the table.
Oh my goodness.
And then when you now look at the meeting of the minds, there's no meeting.
Wow.
All
right, people.
So that, I think, is the construct that causes that dissonance. Because when you take citizens out of that, and you ask a Nigerian to defend Nigeria, they get lit. Football by Nigerians, we own it. Somebody abuses your brother outside, you will own it, you will fight. So why is it that living here, being here, experiencing Nigeria is the issue? Yeah.
Wow. We'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll continue the conversation. Welcome back. We're still discussing the patriot's dilemma, why loving Nigeria hurts. So today, I want to talk about the japa movement. Would you say that that is an act of giving up on Nigeria? Or actually, it is self-love and self-preservation? What would you say?
I think it's both, or either or at any time. First, I have a controversial view about japa. I don't see the problem with it. We are a lot of people in a very small economic space. We need to create pressure valves. You know, if Nigeria can afford to lose 1 million people, you know, that's not. We will be fine.
Yeah.
It's not. The country is not collapsing because people are leaving. That's not the issue. Corruption is the issue. Lack of system. So on a structural planning level, people leaving the country are not really a problem. We have enough inside the country.
Who are staying.
Who are staying.
And maybe who don't have a choice.
Who don't have a choice, who are staying, who want to stay.
Exactly.
You know, so on the one hand, on the planning, strategic planning level, it's not the crisis people think it is. You know, that's one. But more importantly is that people have. I mean, I remember, and I think I can share this, asking Professor Pat to tell me many years ago. I said in his home, just came out, he was talking, and I said, you know, everybody is leaving. I think I'm mad because why am I staying? Like, is there something they are seeing? And he says people have something, there's a way he called it a managerial duty of assessment. There's a way he called it. It's like a tortoise. Tortoise is moving in a shell. It has the right to look up and think, scan the environment, environmental scanning, and decide what are my options.
Right.
And I think that's what most people are doing. It's not even as if they love or don't love the country. If your house is burning, you don't really think, do I love the architecture?
True.
You know, you first run.
Yes.
Then you look back and think, oh my God, my painting is there.
lost.
And so I think for many Nigerians, that's what's happening. They're not really sitting down and thinking, do I love my country or not love my country? They are thinking, what is the best decision for myself at this point in time? And for many of them, leaving is the best decision. I always say, if you're a ballet dancer, this is not the right country for you. There are certain skills that require you to leave the country. And there are certain countries, China, to an extent India, who have deliberate migration strategy for people to leave. So that's not the real issue, whether people are leaving or not. The real issue is those who stay, what do we do with them? Those who stay, do we engage the hearts and minds of the people who stay? Do we make them look at their decision and think, that was wise?
Yeah.
You know, do we make it attractive for the people who are observing them, for their children who are observing them to think, my destiny can come to life in this country? So I think that japa has become a blessing to a country that is unable to manage its size and diversity. And the burden of answering that question is not on the people who are leaving, it's on the people who set the house on fire.
That's right.
You know, and if those people set the house on fire keep blackmailing people emotionally, then they are gaslighting people. It's not you're saying, oh, why are you leaving the country? You should love your country. Meanwhile, 3 of your children are outside of the country.
Yeah.
Why are you leaving the country? You love your country, but our president is going to do healthcare. Not just one president, several presidents. Yeah. There's a form of emotional abuse that comes with that. So when people do that, I'm like, we're having the wrong discussion. People, you can love your country and abandon it.
leave.
You can love your mother and leave. You can love your husband and say, he's beating me, I can't stay. The question is for those who stay,
How?
what are we doing to make it worth their while? Even if the country is left with 1 million people, for those 1 million people, what are we doing with or for them? So 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I realized I no longer had an intellectually honest argument for why any young person should stay in Nigeria. Like when they walked up to me and said, I want to leave, there was I couldn't fairly tell them, stay. I could hope that they stayed, but there was no argument to be made. That is the problem. What is the compelling argument
For people.
for a
to
young Nigerian to stay in the country? Until the country has an answer for that, gaslighting them is not going to work.
Okay. We hear you. Hey, Roms. You are still here. You are still doing the hard things. You are still hurting and showing up. What is that thing that motivates you to remain? Even if you are processing, it's okay. But I'm just joking.
You know, I keep getting asked this question, and honestly, I don't think I have a right answer. I don't think I have an answer that appeals to people. Long story short, I'm still here because of purpose. I know what my purpose is, and my purpose is here. So I'm not interested in leaving. I've had opportunities, educational scholarships. I've had the NSAS. I was offered asylum to various countries. I can even still leave now at zero cost. But I know my purpose is here. And so I'm not really looking at that option. However, I have friends that when they tell me, Rose, I want japa, I say, go, bro. Come on, so if you come on. You know, it's important that young people know where, first and foremost, know where you ought to be. Like Trude said, it's not all talents that are to be developed here, and that's fine. Because even China, Canada, you have people that are leaving the country to go to other countries to, you know, further their lifestyle. So you see this japa thing, right? If everybody leaves, who fixes the country? If every intellectual leaves, who fixes the country? And I'm privy to some information, and I'll just say one of it. It favors the political elite if young, educated, passionate people leave this country. And I'm not even trying to put myself on the pedestal. If we had a lot of, say, 100 active young Nigerians in every state, that would be 3,600 in the whole Nigeria. We can make a change, right? 100 people who are like, okay, you know what, let's put our foot down. We believe that whatever it is we say can happen, whatever it is we want to do. I believe we're getting there because the Gen Z, I like what I'm saying, across the world. With the Gen Z, especially in Nigeria, you know, I see some TikTok, I'm like, is it the president you're talking about like this? You know, I also like that when I look at my friends who have left the country, they are doing so well. When I look at those who are staying here, most of them are doing well. And I just want a country that works. And even when we get the country that works, japa will still happen.
Absolutely.
That's what I want people to understand.
Yes.
When Nigeria is working and is perfect, doctors will still leave.
It's true.
You know, teachers will still leave. It's normal. But it only seems abnormal because of where we are. There's something that happened on X. I think it was this morning or yesterday. A Nigerian had posted that he got PR from Canada, and he got like 70K likes. And then I think a Canadian, maybe someone in politics, a politician who's a Canadian, had quoted the tweet and was like, I've noticed that a lot of Nigerians over-celebrate their PR that they get from other countries. Why is it? I think he said, is Nigeria so unlivable? And that tweet went more viral than the tweet that got 70K likes. I'm like, oh, I just want a Nigeria that works. I want a Nigeria where Nigerians abroad, you can work abroad, pursue your life, and come back home. Because it's also important. A lot of people, when they retire, they want to come home.
Yeah.
But you can't come home and be getting kidnapped and be paying ransom. It's unfair. You know.
So when they leave, let's make sure, as you said, Trude, what are we doing for the people who remain? I know you hear me. Let's talk about diaspora and how we can, maybe these people who leave can actually encourage patriotism. Because actually, like you said, once we leave the shores, a typical Nigerian is proud of Nigeria, even if it has hurt them before. But once you see us outside the shores, carry our shoulder with our full chest.
Yeah, but that's just one truth, right? The truth is Nigeria meets you outside Nigeria as well.
Fair point.
And that's something that so that escaping that people think they do is pyrrhic. It's not complete, right? It's like a Greek gift. You get a part of it or the appearance of it, but in certain experiences, being Nigerian never leaves you.
It's the truth.
You go into a country you've never been in, and you're told to go aside, even though you have another passport. You have your blue or whatever color passport you have, but there is the sting of the green passport that still follows you. So these are some of the truths that we must acknowledge, that being Nigerian is a global statement. Whether you are in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, there is a version of Nigeria that sticks with you and goes with you, that can be negative. And if we do not acknowledge the multiplicity of these realities, we really can't fix it. One of the things that I worry about when we talk about Nigeria is when we say who owns Nigeria, a lot of people immediately lose ownership, mostly citizens. We transfer the baton of ownership to government and people in positional authority. And that's the system we have learned, right? Also, that's the result of hurt, because people have given, like Arams, and they didn't get the reward they thought of. So they abandoned the cause, right? And today, the seats that they have or had are empty. Nobody is sitting there, right? I was speaking to a mentor once, and he said to me, he said, the issue is, how many Nigerians really think Nigeria is their country? Go to the streets. They have, nobody really owns, nobody really identifies with Nigeria. The first role of a citizen, it's rooted in our constitution, is ownership. Ownership has a track record, accountability, not personally alone, calling others to take their position and be accountable for their functions. Now, when I think about japa, I don't think I'm aligned with Chude, but a slight twist. I don't think it's the people who are meant to stay that, fix. I think it's wherever you are, you must carry a Nigerian burden, whether you're in diaspora or you're here. I think it's when we have that sync that we can then begin to build. You always identify as a nation builder. Building nations or building at all is not locational.
That's right.
You don't have to sit in a space to build. You can build from anywhere, right? And I know so many people in diaspora are contributing. We have systems of when I say para-government, like non-government systems that are fully funded by people in diaspora, hospitals that are run by people in diaspora. And those are the things we need to spotlight so that you can have more copycats of those type of things, right? Contribute. So when you just need synergy. Synergy between the people staying that are being empowered, government being held accountable to do what it's supposed to do. Because, you see, I'm learning that there can be many narratives, but narratives must not cloud our judgment. We must morph as Nigerians into clusters of rational people whose first duty is forging how we think about our nation and how we think about Nigerians. I think that's where the problem is. Who is a Nigerian today? There's so many narratives. A Nigerian is a thief, a Nigerian is but there are Nigerians that are superstars. So do we say that because there is a thief who is a Nigerian, then it's not possible to have a superstar Nigerian? Likewise with government, because government is messing up, doesn't mean that there are no pockets of good that we can spotlight and enable. I think we just need to frame things differently. We can't transfer the burden of ownership to positional authority. Ownership is on the streets. Ownership is in families. Cluster of families. What are parents telling their children? The first time a child thinks is built by the system of judgment that the parents have created around that child. When we are bringing citizens into the world, what are they reading? What are they seeing? What is being told them about their nation? Why are we having people craft language for us when we can shape that language? And the work for that is not in diaspora, in citizens who stay, or citizens or in government. It
It's
is a
all of us.
circular economy of collective action.
Fabulous. Well, I think that's... Wow, 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 wow. All right, we'll take another break, and when we return, we'll take some questions from the audience. Welcome back. We're still talking the Patriot's Dilemma, why loving Nigeria hurts. Now let's take audience questions.
Thank you so much for the insightful conversations. I found this so educative and inspiring. But I have just two questions. So the first one, many young people love Nigeria, but with rising costs and lack of opportunities, how do we use our options? And then the second one, how do we stay hopeful? Thank you.
Okay. Well, I mean, as you respond to those questions, either or, please share your closing thoughts. Erams, let me start with you. How do we stay hopeful? People don't want to leave, but what are their options?
How do we stay hopeful? It's important that, first and foremost, this might sound selfish, but it's what works for me, to be able to keep doing what I do. It's to not expect anything in return. And permit me to use this phrase. God loves us, and God has loved us even before we knew him. He's not loving us because he expects us to love him back, but he just loves us because we are in his image. So when you're loving Nigeria, you're not loving Nigeria because you expect that 2 years from now, your salary should be doubled. 3 years from now, Nigeria should give you a very nice Nigerian woman, like 7 children. But you're loving Nigeria because you ought to love Nigeria, because it's your duty as a Nigerian to love Nigeria. I also think it's important that to stay hopeful, you need to see certain positives in your life. That's guaranteed. So you could join communities of young people like yourself who are like-minded. Now we have social media, we have internet. You can join communities, virtual communities, Nigerians in diaspora, where you get to be in communities that improve you, open you up to certain opportunities. So we have virtual people that are working virtually, earning in dollars and staying in Naira, staying in Nigeria. So you're spending the dollars in Nigeria. We are here and you're spending dollars in Nigeria. Please remember me. So things like that help you stay. And once you understand as well that the Nigeria you are loving, the Nigeria you're hoping to get better, benefits not just you, but your children.
Yes.
It's easier when you know, okay, if I keep at this, my children would enjoy.
Wouldn't have to
Yeah, and they won't have to do all these things that I'm
go through
doing.
this abusive relationship that
Exactly.
we've been talking about. Yemi, what would be your final
Okay,
thought?
so when you mentioned the topic, I was confused, right? Because when you're speaking about Nigeria, you want to talk about possibilities, but when we're vulnerable about the hurt, as Chude said, it's a pathway to truth and healing. And so different Nigerians have different pains. And I think the first step to us even getting, the definition is describing the pain, accepting the pain, and leaving room enough for every kind of pain, because we've created a system where we undermine people's pain or define how a pain should be described. Pain is pain. There is no illegitimate pain.
That's right.
And pain does not look at face or color. Pain is a lived experience, and we must honor people's pain. Citizens are carrying pain. Beside pain, citizens are also carrying hope. The average Nigerian really wants Nigeria to work. Right. And you can see that in the moments where the things that we agree on happen, right? When most people agree on it, you will see the cry. But I was thinking, when you say, what do we do, right? And I remember the story. It's a Bible story. The story was about a time when the people went off guard and then snakes ravaged the people, right? And you can imagine a system of snakes, venomous snakes. If snakes are biting people in this room, we can't shoot nothing, right? There'll be a lot of noise. And then Moses, who was the leader, asked God for a solution and said, how do I solve this? Yeah. And he was instructed to create a bronze snake and lift it up. And he was told that everybody who looked up to that snake would get healing. And everybody who could not muster the energy to look up to that snake would die. I think that's the solution. We all need to begin to spotlight the good that is happening and convert it to bronze snakes. Let us erect bronze snakes all around the nation so that the cries of the venomous snakes begin to reduce. In fact, the snakes may lose their capacity to sting because we are no longer focused on them, and we are beginning to build a different focus. And the healing that we seek will then be in us spotlighting the good that is happening, because there are pockets of good that are happening, right? And if we begin to see differently, the narrative of good is louder, evil gets less confident or exits the room, and then we can begin to build this country.
Fabulous. Chude, what would be your closing thoughts?
If not that we're already recording, I'd say you should end with her. Because that's a way to end it. And maybe because I'm physically tired, so I'm worried about not ending it on that line of hope.
Don't worry.
But this is the deal. There's a story. A woman came back home and saw her husband looking around the traffic, the street lamp, looking around the light of the street lamp, looking around. She said, "What are you looking for?" He's like, "Oh, I'm looking for my keys." So she joined him, and she was looking around where the lights were for the keys. And after I didn't find the key, so she asked him, "Where did you drop the key?" He said, "Oh, I lost it inside the house." So she asked, "So why are we looking for it here?" He said, "Because this is where there is light."
Sorry.
Sometimes I think that that's the Nigerian problem. Achebe wrote a book called The Trouble with Nigeria. And he said the trouble with Nigeria is squarely a question of leadership. Nigeria is one of the few countries in the world where people demand for citizens to be nation builders. And it's not wrong. And we have nation builders. But you don't go to the UAE and then people are asking the children, build your nation. They ask them to maintain their basic civic duties. We give our citizens too much burden. We victim blame. You have abused the citizen. You tell the citizen, why can't you hold me responsible for abusing you? It's ridiculous. And until we honor that pain, we're not having an honest conversation about the country. So there are people like Eroms. This is the fact of the matter. Eroms is special. People like Eroms are not up to 100. You don't have people that have been attacked for fighting for NSAS. He fought for NSAS for police brutality. I've interviewed him on my show. And then he was arrested for fighting for police brutality. Do you understand how meta that is? He was protesting police brutality and he was arrested while processing police brutality and brutalized by the police. Then he's still fighting for the country. That's a special guy. We cannot demand a country of 200 million special people.
True word.
It's not realistic. We need to honor the people who are tired. Who are like, I've tried, and I can't try anymore. And we need to put the responsibility where it exists. The people who have made them tired. We need to make that clear, first and foremost. And pray to God that more special people like Eroms erupt. But we don't deserve it. We haven't earned it. We should be grateful for it. Now, when it comes to hope, yes, you can have hope in the country. You asked before, why am I in the country? Unfortunately, I tell people, Nigeria is lucky that I love it. I love Nigeria, that's why I'm here. It's not a rational decision. This is my home.
Love is irrational. Really.
Love is not rational, that's where I'm coming to. Love is not rational. I love my country. Now, a country is lucky that love exists. So because we love it, we will work for it. But the country must be grateful each time we do that.
Wow.
And we can find hope from the simple fact that even when it's not rational, that there is love.
Oh, wow. Okay. We started from hurt, but we ended in love. It has been such an insightful conversation, reflecting on what it truly means to love Nigeria with courage, hope, and faith in its future. True patriotism isn't blind. It's the strength to keep believing and building until the promise of our nation matches the power of its people. I would like to thank our guests for coming on the show today, and of course, to our audience for your incredible energy. Thank you to our viewers for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and share your thoughts on today's episode using the hashtag #TheNigeriaWeWant. I'm Abosede Jojogan, and until the next episode, remember, women's leadership can change everything, everywhere. Bye for now.